The first one I have is this one here. So do you know what I call this change of state? It turns from solid to liquid. So what am I going to say here? That's going to be melting. Can you think of the opposite? If I'm going from liquid to solid, what am I going to call that change? What is the opposite of melting? Freezing. All right, so melting, freezing, melting, freezing. All right, so that is the first change of state, melting and freezing. I want to show you another one. This one you can actually express or see if you just have a good glass and you just breathe against the glass. Do you know what I call this change when I do like this on it? Try to think about it. Again, what do I call this when you're like breathing against a cold window? That's turning from, be careful, I'm turning from gas to liquid. So what am I going to call this change in front of you? I'm calling this condensation. Again, I'm turning here from what to what? I'm turning from gas to liquid. All right? What's the opposite? Do you know what the opposite change here in this case? The opposite change is this one here, right? The opposite is when liquids turn to gas. That's evaporation. Okay? Now, think about it. There are two words here. One is called evaporation, and one is called boiling. How are these two words related, and how are they different? Again, evaporation and boiling, they're quite confusing. How is they're similar, and how are they different? Now, notice, if something is boiling, you'll find that boiling is happening all over the liquid. This is boiling. Look, the entire liquid is like having very high amount of energy, and all the particles throughout the liquids are actually going into that change of state. All right? So that is boiling. What about evaporation? Evaporation is something that you cannot stop. Evaporation is something that happens right at the surface of the liquid. So your hair is wet. Your hair, the water on your hair evaporate. So there's a big difference here. If something is boiling, it would be boiling all the way. If something is evaporating, it would only occurring on the surface of the liquid. Okay? So let's try this one more time. I want you to think about it. Which one would be slower? If it's boiling, put the letter B. If it's evaporation, put the letter E. So in the chat box, for each property, try to think about it. Is it going to be boiling or is it going to be evaporation? So let's start with the first one. First one says slower. Which one of these is going to be the slower one among them? Slower is evaporation. Evaporation is much slower than boiling because evaporation only occurs at the surface. So it's going to take time for the liquid to entirely change its state. Okay? Which one of these is expected to be reversible? So which one of these is you can reverse it? Evaporation or boiling? Neither or both? What do you think? Both, right? You can, either way, you can condense, you can turn gas to liquid once again. So both processes are physical changes and they can be reversed. Which one you would expect to have more kinetic energy? So which one of these you would expect it to have more energy in the particles? Where would you see the particles like jumping faster? That would be what? That would be boiling. You would notice in boiling that the entire particles of the liquid are moving very rapidly. Which one of these you would expect it only to occur on the surface? This one is easy, right? We said it several times that evaporation only occurs on the surface of the liquid. Which one is happening at all temperatures all the time? Which one is like, there's no way you can stop. It would happen as long as there is a liquid. That's evaporation. Which one would require a higher temperature? Which one you expected to require more heat to occur? The one that would require more heat or higher temperature is boiling. Like water boils at 100. Evaporation can happen at all degrees. Which one is a change from liquid to gas? Think about it. Which one is like turning liquid to gas? Both, right? Both, they involve a change of state, right? One of them is faster, one of them is slower, but both of which are like change of state. Which one only occurs at one specific temperature? You know which one is this one? The only one that occurs at fixed temperature is boiling.